Another arson fire late last night. It happened on the 2500 block of Foxgrove Road in Parksley.
And as WBOC's Denise Sawyer shows us, some people in Accomack County are now actually taking the search for the suspect into their own hands.
Roasted wood, piles of ash, and a barn stripped down to its nails. That's what's left of a structure police say was lit on fire by an arsonist late last night.
It's very serious that he's just setting anything afire.
According to police, the suspected arsonist targets vacant buildings, like this abandoned barn. And for people like Billy Graham, that sets off a red flag.
I live around there and I got a big barn. I'm worried about him coming by. So if he gets on my property, he ain't leaving.
Virginia State Police are asking for any tips, and Graham says he has one the police should definitely hear.
Stopped in the middle of a curve, backed up, and left. Apparently didn't want to continue down the road close to where maybe he could have been recognized or his license tag taken.
Take a look at this burnt wood that didn't come from the barn behind me. It came from a structure which was also put ablaze by the suspected arsonist.
Burned that house down. He burned a house down up Johnson Road, and he set fire to this one last night.
A string of arsons is what the police are calling it. In a storage building that sat just a few feet from this barn was one of the first targets.
It's scary because they could start burning houses that people live in.
Esther also lives in her neighborhood and says the police need to let the community know what's going on.
Well, I think it would be a good job if they let everybody know, and I guess they're doing their best job when they put it on the news.
Reporting in Accomack County, Denise Sawyer, WBOC News, Parksley.
For the first time since these arsons have started, Virginia State Police have given us some insight now into their investigation, and police believe that it is a group of people behind these fires, not one person acting alone. WBOC's Bill Mitch is live tonight in Accomack County, and Bill, police say they do have several leads in the case.
This group has terrorized Accomack County since mid-November, setting 44 intentional fires, the latest happening right here back on February 2nd. This is all that remains of this structure here in Parksley. Virginia State Police say while they have those leads, putting people in jail will require even more help from this community. 44 arsons. 44! It's a number that Accomack County residents can't believe this crime spree has climbed to.
I just don't know why they're doing it. I just don't know why. Can't imagine why.
The state police have stepped up patrols, called in extra investigators, and are working closely with other local agencies. All of these structures have been unoccupied so far. The need is to catch these arsonists before things escalate.
It's unfortunate that this is happening, and that is why we are stepping up also to catch this arsonist. This arsonist has no remorse or feelings for people within the community.
State police officials here in Fort Monroe, Virginia, did confirm that there is a pattern of telltale signs and clues that distinguishes the work of this arsonist from any copycat criminals.
We believe it to be somebody that lives in Accomack County and that's familiar with the layout of the land, yes.
And the structures are not the only concern of the people investigating these arsons.
The arsonist, he doesn't realize he's not just setting a structure on fire, he's putting other lives in danger, police officers and firefighters' lives in danger.
Police say it is the information they receive from the public that is going to finally solve this case, something Accomack residents can't wait to see.
I hope they're put away for a long time and teach somebody a lesson.
There remains a $5,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest and conviction in connection to these arsons. Reporting live in Accomack County, Bill Mitch, WBOC News, Parksley.
2 more arsons this past weekend, bringing the total number of confirmed arsons to 46 now in Accomack County. One happened Saturday night at an old storage barn in Temperanceville. The other just last night at an abandoned commercial building in Nelsonia. WBOC's Karina Paiza is live tonight in Temperanceville. Karina, it appears whoever's setting these fires may be changing course.
Well, Steve, those previous arson fires have all followed a similar pattern set at abandoned or unused structures. But take a look at this. Nothing but tangled metal and heaps of ash. Now, this here used to be a storage shed at this completely operational chicken house. At least $25,000 worth of machinery, lumber, and equipment reduced to rubble.
It was quite a bit of valuable stuff that I had in there.
Bobby Chesser owns this farm in Temperanceville. It was passed along to him by his father, who built the barn Chesser used for storage up until Saturday night.
I looked out and I didn't see the fire, and I looked down at towards the chicken houses, and I saw the lights blinking, so I just hopped in the pickup and went down there. In 15 minutes it was gone, flat.
Chesser says he knew about the serial arson cases throughout the county, but never expected it would hit so close to home.
Well, you can't help but think about it, but you think it'll be on somebody else. You just don't think it'll be in your property.
Just a few miles up the road, this old commercial building became the next target, and arson fire number 46. You can see it's still standing with no visible damage because crews were able to get to the scene and put it out quickly. Reverend Roland Knight lives nearby.
It's a shame that a person has to do that, and it's a shame that it's this close to my house, but that's okay, because he or she will get caught.
And that's something people like Chesser hope happens sooner rather than later. Now, earlier this afternoon, an insurance agent was out here at the farm assessing the damage, along with Virginia State Police and the fire marshal, who say the investigation into all these arson fires is ongoing. Reporting live tonight in Accomack County, Karina Paiza, WBOC News, Temperanceville.
We wanted to learn more about the type of crime and also the people who commit it.
Yesterday, I interviewed a nationally renowned arson expert via satellite from New York. And among the questions I asked him, do serial arsonists typically set bigger, more dangerous fires as time goes by?
If you look at some of these serial arsonist cases across the country, you'll see that they often start small, we'll say dumpsters, outside fires, brush fires, things like that. But over a period of time, you do actually see escalation in terms of the number of fires, but also the type of targets that they're setting fire to. So buildings that are occupied in some cases, which of course, as we all would understand, that's the most dangerous situation for everyone involved, firefighters and of course for the public.
How do you suspect this case will be solved, if it is solved?
There's no doubt in my mind it will be solved. It's going to take a lot of work. Certainly that task force is going to be profiling the motives. Perhaps that will help them try to describe or try to determine what type of person this is and perhaps why they're doing this. And they may be able to get some of that from the locations, from the evidence that's left behind. The other thing I'll be looking at, of course, is the fires themselves, where they're being set, time of day, the frequency, all those kind of things will be looked at as well. And I am sure that this group, this task force that's been put together, will bring this to a conclusion pretty soon.
And it's your experience that most arson cases are eventually solved?
In this type of fire, yes. I'm familiar with several of them in the last probably 20, 25 years. And all the ones that I can recall, in every case, the person was eventually caught, or persons, right?
Now, a couple of other interesting points from Professor Corbett yesterday. It is unusual to have, as Virginia State Police suspect, that a group of people are setting most of these fires. Corbett says typically arsonists work alone. They are the lone wolf type with motivations that run the gamut, from disgruntled firefighters or former firefighters to angry teenagers. And finally, he didn't think that $5,000 reward was enough money to generate solid tips that would lead to an arrest, and he thought the reward should be higher. Well, unbeknownst to us, at about that same time, Virginia State Police did raise that reward to $25,000. Another arson, this time in the early morning hours, bringing the total of intentionally set fires in Accomack County to 63 since mid-November.
WBOC's Bill Mitch is with us tonight in the Newsplex. And Bill, this latest handful of fires have happened in such a short time. People in the area are becoming more concerned.
9 fires in the past 5 nights. The latest was in Melfa, a single-story unoccupied commercial building burned to the ground. Another unique aspect about this fire was its location, right alongside Route 13. The smoke rises on the latest Accomack County arson fire, and the level of frustration continues to rise as well. MC Fry of Melfa had this to say about the arsonist.
I got a couple of guns in the house, and I guarantee you, if I see that setting the fire, there's going to be some. I wouldn't kill him. I might try to shoot his legs off, It makes me mad.
9 fires in the last 5 nights and 63 overall is enough to get anyone's blood boiling in Accomack County. Increased police patrols and even the use of a surveillance plane by state police, but the arson or arsonists continue to strike.
I'm scared to death. He's getting all these old houses, what worries me.
There is nothing left of this single-story building in Melfa but ash and scorched metal. Police responded to the scene just after midnight, a scene located along Route 13.
I think that's kind of bold to set it right on 13, so he got a lot of nerves.
Fires happening more frequently and now in a more populated and traveled area. Linwood Jones shares a sentiment felt by many in Accomack County as the total number of arsons continues to grow.
A lot of people are worried he's going to set one on fire with somebody nearby or in it.
So far, nobody has gotten hurt in these crimes, but everybody here wants an end to these arson fires. Virginia State Police continue to offer a $25,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest and conviction in connection to these arsons in Accomack County.
Police say another fire last night makes for 65 intentionally set fires in the county since mid-November. Fox 21's Bill Mitch is with us in the Newsplex. And Bill, this latest fire comes in the middle of increased patrols by state police throughout the county.
Alice, over the weekend, state police and the sheriff's office had 5 different checkpoints set up, handing out the number to the tip line. 3 days of checkpoints, 3 days without a fire. Monday night, there were no checkpoints and the arsonist was back in action. Another abandoned home burned to the ground. The latest was located at the intersection of Knox Landing Road and Page Fisher Road in Oak Hall. Robert Witherspoon lives just a few houses down from the scene. He said by the time crews arrived to fight the flames, the house was fully engulfed.
The fire department wouldn't try to put the house out. They would just make sure nothing else wouldn't catch a fire, like the bushes and trees around the house. They were spraying that.
Monday night's fire was the first since the early morning hours on Friday and the 65th overall in the county since November 12th. State police spent the past weekend handing out over 6,000 flyers with the number for the tip line and information about the reward. Sunday night, the checkpoint stopped, but the police presence did not. State police officials say there were still increased patrols in the county, something that didn't seem to faze the arsonist.
We have seen cops, officers ride by backwards and forwards all day long, but as far as how he got in there and what he done after he got in there, nobody never knows.
We spoke to the owner of the burned down home who declined to be on camera, but she told us that she saw troopers drive by just a few minutes before she saw flames and had to call 911. State police say their increased patrols will continue tonight in the county, but the arsonist has already shown more patrols does not mean a night off from these fires. State police continue to offer a reward of up to $25,000 for information that leads to an arrest and conviction in connection to these arsons in Accomack County. And if you know anything about these string of arsons in the county, you can call or text this number on your screen, 757-655-1437.
Another overnight arson, this one bigger and more meaningful, people in Tasley say. A community landmark, the old Whispering Pines Motel right on Route 13, went up in flames at about 10 o'clock last night. Virginia State Police say arson is the cause. There have now been 66 confirmed arsons in the past 5 months in Accomack County. WBOC's Cleo Green now shows us the damage from the air and has reaction on the ground.
It was by far the biggest fire of all the arsons we've seen here in Accomack County. Take a look at what's left of the Whispering Pines Motel. Now on the ground, firefighters and residents are angry as this arsonist continues to turn their lives upside down.
John Pruitt lives in Accomack County. He says he knows his town inside and out, but now he's not too sure.
I don't know, it's just getting ridiculous. I mean, you seem like one guy doing so much damage, they should be able to catch him by now.
He's talking about the Accomack County firebug setting a massive fire at a motel and restaurant abandoned for more than 20 years now. This is what it looked like back in the 60s when it was a landmark in Tasley.
As you see, some of the walls may fall.
Tasley Volunteer Fire Chief Jeff Bell says the arsonist has a trend, setting fires to the rear of each structure, but this time someone could have got hurt.
Across the street, there's 4 houses that are, I don't know, 1,000 feet away from not even that far. And They had to wake those people up. I sent an engine crew over there to wake them up to get them alert to what's going on.
More than 11 companies from 2 counties responded to this overnight fire. The chief says crews along the eastern shore of Virginia are at their wits' end.
Our resources are completely tapped out. Our fuel cost is outrageous. We're going through a lot of equipment. The real toll is on the people. We're all volunteers.
The chief says, how ironic. The fire was set in a spot between where 2 security checkpoints had been set up, but they ended on Sunday.
Yeah, I guess he's making a point.
A point not taken lightly. People in the area suspect the arsonist isn't working alone, and he's no ordinary person.
I think it's just somebody sick in the head. I mean, I think they just want a lot of attention, and they got major issues need to be dealt with.
Meanwhile, the Accomack community has a message.
Take a break. I need one. Accept your punishment. That's what you need to do.
Back in Chopper 16, right across from Route 13 from the motel, you can see a few houses here. Take a look. Last night, the wind whipped embers and they jumped across the street. Firefighters had to go door to door to warn residents to keep an eye on their houses. In Chopper 16, Cleo Green, WBOC News, Accomack County.
They have made an arrest in connection with last night's fire in Melfa. They also say that that fire has been deemed an arson.
We have live team coverage this morning. The police say that the fire occurred at an unoccupied building around midnight. And first, let's check in with WBOC's Bill Mitch, who's been speaking with police this morning about what we now know is an arrest. Bill?
Guys, it was just 3 minutes ago when Virginia State Police came out and told us one of the 2 people they picked up after last night's arson fire has been arrested and charges have been filed. Her name is Tanya Bundick. Tanya Bundick, 40 years old, from Parksley. She's being charged with 1 felony count of arson and 1 felony count of conspiracy to commit arson. And this is in regards to the fire that was set last night in Melfa on Airport Drive, just a mile away here from the state barracks.
And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Steve Hammond in the WBOC Newsplex. We are breaking into programming right now to bring you a live news conference being held at the Accomack County Sheriff's Office regarding all of these arsons we've been following since November. A news conference is underway, so let's go right now to Accomack County.
Virginia State Police, Captain Tim Ribel, Lieutenant Curtis Hardison, First Sergeant J.P. Cushell, and on behalf of the Accomack County Sheriff, Todd Godwin, as well as the Accomack County Commonwealth's Attorney, Gary Agar, we want to express our sincere appreciation to the residents of Accomack County. The residents here have been so supportive and patient through what has been a very extensive and arduous process of investigating these arsons. We especially thank our Eastern Shore residents for all the calls and tips. We've received over 1,200 tips in the past 5 months related to these crimes. The State Police, we also want to acknowledge Sheriff Godwin and his investigators and deputies for their hard work and collaboration with responding to and investigating these fires. This has very much been a joint effort among not only our law enforcement from the State Police and the Sheriff's Office, but also with our local police departments up and down the Eastern Shore, who have also dedicated numerous resources and hours to assisting us during the course of the investigation. Also involved with these investigations has been the Virginia Department of Fire Programs, as well as the ATF and the FBI. We have representatives joining us today as well. Also deserving our many thanks are the 12 volunteer fire departments that serve and protect Accomack County. These men and women have valiantly responded to every one of these fires with the potential risk of injury or worse to themselves. They have dedicated a tremendous amount of resources and time to fighting the fires and assisting law enforcement with our investigations. And we appreciate Jeff Terwilliger, who's the Public Safety Director for the county. We're most appreciative for all that assistance, and we hope you can pass that along to the departments and the firefighters. And it's because of these very collaborative efforts by law enforcement, first responders, and the public that has brought us to this point today to announce the arrests of 2 Eastern Shore residents in connection with the arsons. Tanya S. Bundick and Charles R. Smith III, who also goes by the alias of Charles Applegate, both of Parksley, were taken into custody for questioning this morning by State Police.
Now joining me is WBOC's Bill Mitch, who has more on Charles Smith, alias Charles Applegate.
Paul, once the press conference is over, I approached Corinne Geller, the Virginia State Police spokesperson. I showed her the Tasley Volunteer Fire Department website right on my phone, where the name Charlie Applegate was listed. Now, Geller did confirm that the website was out of date and that he was out of service for quite some time, but she did say Charlie Applegate, or Charles Smith, was a former firefighter for the Tasley Volunteer Fire Department. These are pictures of Tanya Bundick and Charles Smith at a Halloween party from Bundick's Facebook page. The pictures were taken by Seth Matthews, who says Bundick wanted him to be their wedding photographer. The news of the arrest is still coming as quite a shock.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's almost like I think it's like a cloak over something, or, you know, like it's a conspiracy, because I really don't believe it.
Matthew says he has known Smith, also known as Applegate, since they were teenagers. Another man familiar with Smith is Warner Hargis, a lifetime member of the Tasley Volunteer Fire Department, where Smith used to be a member.
He was an engineer on one of the vehicles, brush truck, I believe it was at the time.
Hargis tells us that Smith also operated this auto body shop just down the road from the fire department. The alleged actions of Smith in this arson spree doesn't sound like the man Hargis grew to know.
Very nice, very friendly, and he'd do you a favor as quick as anybody in the world.
These are just the first details we will learn about both Smith and Bundick as state police continue their investigation and work to find a motive to these Accomack arson fires. And like we have mentioned, state police do believe that Smith and Bundick to be behind the majority of these fires, but they continue to urge for public input as they delve deeper into their investigation. Paul?
Bundick and Smith have each been charged with 1 count of arson, and tonight prosecutors say more charges are on the way. Bundick was denied bond in her case in mid-April, and she was back in court appealing that decision today. WBOC's Bill Mitch live tonight in Accomack County. Bill, things did not go Bundick's way once again.
Well, Steve, this is a site we've seen numerous times over the past couple months, the scorched Whispering Pines Motel. It was the 66 fire and that long string of arsons. And this site is actually about a mile away from the Accomack County Courthouse, where today Tanya Bundick was once again denied bond. And we also learned that more charges are right around the corner for her and Charles Smith. Tanya Bundick said nothing to reporters as she was led from the Accomack County Circuit Courthouse. Wearing her white jumpsuit, deputies escorted her back to jail. For the second time in a matter of weeks, bond was denied, and she was denied a chance to get out of her shackles and return home. The judge said Bundick was a likely danger to the public and likely to be a flight risk. During his ruling, the judge took into consideration that further charges were on the way for Bundick. The Commonwealth of Virginia's attorney Greg Agar was asked when those charges could be coming. He says in the near future, and quote, "We intend to charge her with over 70 arsons." Bundick's fiancé Charles Smith will also face those charges. He was also arrested in connection with the fires. Court documents show Smith not only admitted to setting the fire on April 1st that led to his and Bundick's arrest, but also that, quote, he personally set 52 unoccupied structures on fire in Accomack County during the previous 5 months. Smith also told authorities, according to the documents, that, quote, Miss Bundick personally set 15 abandoned structures on fire in Accomack County during the previous 5 months. The preliminary hearings for both Smith and Bundick were originally scheduled for Monday, but have been continued. Bundick and Smith are undergoing psychiatric evaluations. Bundick's attorney said her evaluation should be completed by May 17th. Because of those evaluations, the preliminary hearings for Smith and Bundick have been moved to June 17th. Reporting live in Accomack County, Bill Mitch, WBOC News, Accomack.
This morning in court, Smith admitted his guilt. WBOC's Bill Mitch was inside the Accomack County courtroom today. He joins us now live. Bill, Smith pled guilty to all 68 charges he faced.
584 years in prison and over $5 million in fines. That's the maximum sentence Charles Smith faces today after pleading guilty inside Accomack County Court. Smith's attorney says the guilty plea comes after spending hours and hours reviewing documents and videos provided by state police. Charles Smith entered Accomack County Court today without saying a word. Once inside, his answers were very short, mostly consisting of, "Yes, sir, Your Honor." But it was the 3 words that caught the attention of everyone inside when the judge asked, "Mr. Smith, how do you plead to these counts?" "Guilty, Your Honor," were the next words from Smith's mouth. Smith's attorney Carl Bundick says after the original plea of not guilty, they were able to review more evidence.
What was needed was an opportunity to have that discovery order entered, which it was on our arraignment day. And after spending hours and hours and hours reviewing those documents, that then changed the tenor of the plea from the not guilty plea to the guilty plea.
Another piece of evidence Bundick referred to was 4 DVDs of interrogation video provided by state police from the day Smith was arrested. One of the DVDs is video of police driving Smith around Accomack County to different fires, and he would confirm or deny his involvement in each arson. The attorney for the Commonwealth of Virginia did not wish to get into detail about the court proceedings.
When I make statements to the press, then it could influence the public. We've still got another case to present with regard to these fires, and so any comments I make could be called into question.
The other case Gary Agar was referring to is the trial for Tanya Bundick, Charles Smith's fiancée, who faces 2 charges for her role in the arson spree. Smith's attorney was asked if Charles Smith would have a role in that trial, perhaps taking the stand, and he said it was an uncertain answer at this time. Charles Smith kept his emotions to himself both inside and outside of the courtroom today, but his attorney says he has seen the toll the case has taken on his client.
Mr. Smith is very remorseful.
One final note, Smith's attorney said in court that Smith was diagnosed with bipolar disorder after being arrested and is now for the first time in his life receiving proper treatment for his condition. Now, as far as sentencing, no date has been set as of yet. The judge will allow the defense to have a third party take a look at the case and Charles Smith to see if there's any mitigating factors that should be in that decision. The judge is hoping for a sentencing date sometime in December. Live in Accomack County, Bill Mitch, WBOC News, Accomack.
Now, Smith pleaded guilty to 67 arsons, while Bundick is awaiting her trial on just 2 counts. WBOC's Bill Mitch watched all of Smith's nearly 4-hour interrogation video and studied over 50 pages of court documents, and tells us Smith says the fires were not his idea, and he hated setting almost all of them.
After he was caught on Airport Road in Melfa, Charles Smith held nothing back from police.
You know, I knew this day was coming. I mean, that's why I ain't been happy in all these months, because I just knew. You all get caught? Yeah.
For hours, Smith went through each individual arson with police, detailing how he set each fire and how he managed to escape.
What do you used to see? No. I was in the fire company. They told us how to feel around in the dark.
And during those open and honest hours with police, Smith spoke about how it all began 1 year ago. He says it was Tanya Bundick's idea to set the first fire, and she was responsible for the first handful. Smith believes it was a release for Bundick, who was dealing with issues at home.
After she did that first one, it just seemed like some of her problems went away. I'd basically do anything for her.
Including taking over the duty of setting the fires.
I started right after that one because that's the one that they almost busted her on. Okay, so the fact that they just looked a little bit harder.
Was she there?
Oh yeah.
Laying in the woods?
Oh yeah.
You know, we looked for her because we had,
y'all didn't look good.
Smith told police he fell in love with Bundick and some intimacy issues pushed him to do anything in his power to keep her, including setting fires. But Smith said multiple times in the video how much he was against these crimes and how he hated setting every fire but one.
Only one night I enjoyed, and that was only because I'd always wanted to see that place burn, and that's bad to say.
Whispering Pond?
Yeah.
Smith also told police that because he loved Bundick, he had no problem taking all the blame.
I asked her if this ever goes down to put it all on me.
You think she'll do that?
Yeah.
Smith talked about riding through the police checkpoints with Bundick. He also discussed how he and Bundick almost gave up setting the fires around the holidays. But the total continued to climb, and Smith says his grief continued to grow.
I've had a lot of sleepless nights over some of this.
Hey, we've been right there with you.
A year has passed now since the first fire, and with the arrest of Smith and Bundick, the fear of what's going to happen next in Accomack County has passed as well. Bill Mitch, WBOC News.